One last part of symbolism I would like to talk about is the machines. I mean, as in the time machine. The time machine symbolizes hope for the future. So he used the time machine in the book to symbolize hope for the future, that there might be good in the future, right? Well, he discovers in the future that nothing is different. It's still two different classes, but they've evolved so much into two separate societies, two separate species. In the late 19th century, actually, railways were becoming big, and so were factories, because great industrialization was starting to come up, and these things also destroyed the environment, and the hope for the future started to dehumanize everyone and all the workers. H.G. Wells was a scientist and researched many of the same things as Darwin. As I said before, Discoveries of Variation was one of the books, or one of the articles that he wrote, and it kind of went along Darwin's theories, lines of natural selection, and the theory of evolution. One thing they did not have in common was Wells understood the relationship between heat and light. So it is clear to see that in this book, H.G. Wells depicts that you must have heat to create light, and he demonstrates this. He demonstrates his understanding of this in the book when Weena really loves the light, and he always, so every time he makes a fire, Weena's very fascinated with it, but she doesn't understand that it's hot. So when she gets close to it, it scares her because it is hot and it hurts. And the Eloi were absolutely satisfied with the fire, and they loved seeing the light, but the time traveler had to show them that with the light of the fire, they must not get close because they will get burnt. There are a few different things to look at in the analysis of the book, such as man versus man. So these are the things I was talking about earlier. I wanted to talk about man versus society, and man versus nature. So man versus man. The man versus man battle within this book is the Morlocks and the time traveler. When the time traveler finds his time machine, the Morlocks try to capture him and take him underground into their secret tunnels when he finds his time machine. Another one I would like to talk about is man versus nature. So man versus nature, when he first arrives, he has to find out the layout of the land. So when the time traveler arrives, he had to battle against nature because he was in a whole new reality, whole new world. He had no idea where he was. So he had to find the layout of the land, and that was one of the challenges that he had to take on while doing this book. In my opinion, one of the hardest ones was man versus society. It was really hard for the time traveler, to adjust to what was going on in this time, because he was going into a whole new world where he didn't know anyone, and he discovers these people, and he expects these people to talk back to him. They don't talk back to him. The Eloi, like I said earlier, they whimpered, and their means of communication was through action. They just acted things out, basically, kind of like sign language, I guess, but they didn't have sign language. They looked just like humans, same physical characteristics, but could not talk. So I think that was the biggest thing. Man versus society was the means of communication between the two people, because there was no way to communicate, and he had to learn how. One last thing I found within the palace